This is Support is Sexy, episode 184. Be flexible. Welcome to Support is Sexy. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I interview inspiring women entrepreneurs who share their wins and their lessons to help you take your business and your life to the next level and create something sexy. Here we go. Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I'm excited to have you here. It just would not be the same without you. And today I wanted to talk to you briefly about being flexible. You know, last week we talked about being gentle, which is very important. But this week the lesson for me was about being flexible, especially as an entrepreneur. And it came up really in the past few days because I had a conversation with a friend and colleague and a client, one person, this person is, and we were just talking about some things we both were going after in our businesses, different things, but things that we were going after, something new for both of us, and how those things fell short of what we were hoping for. Didn't have expectations, but had hopes for these things, going after them full steam ahead, tried our best, did what we knew how to do, and they didn't happen or didn't turn out as we hoped they would turn out. But we were flexible, and flexible in the way that it allowed for us to be resilient in the face of what might be perceived as failure. So resilience is just one thing that I think can be a result of you being flexible, especially, as I said, as an entrepreneur. You're going to face rejection. You're going to face failure. We did a whole series on failure. You're going to face things that just don't turn out as you hope. But if you are flexible meaning able to bounce back, flexible meaning, as my friend and I were, able to focus on what did work. One of the things that did work for both of us that we were both proud of is that we went for it. Sometimes that's all you have to celebrate. You went for it. It didn't work out, but you went for it. You were afraid, but you went for it. Didn't turn out how you thought it might or hoped it might, but you went for it. So that is something to celebrate. And being flexible means it didn't work out, but okay, these are the things that we'll do differently next time. That's actually something that we both discuss on each of our projects, how we would do it differently, what we learned from it, and all of those things. Be flexible. Don't be rigid around what didn't work or the failure. Think about how you can bounce back, how you can get through it, what you're celebrating of what you accomplished. Be flexible. Another way that being flexible helps you as an entrepreneur and business person, you're able to be nimble. And that means you're able to make a move as you go with the flow. You're able to make a move as you need to while you're in the midst of the flow. I always think about, I worked in media for 20 years, and the bigger corporations, the Time Inc., the Condé Nast, all of these big media companies that are so well known, popular, been around for some of them hundreds of years. They are not nimble, and that's not necessarily a fault. It is because they're huge corporations. There's red tape to make changes, and then sometimes there is resistance, and I know this from having worked in some of these companies, resistance to make changes. Changes being, for example, when things started to quote-unquote go digital, or when social media became a big thing, when people were building websites for magazines. A lot of these companies, not necessarily the ones I named, but a lot of them, like those, didn't or were resistant, I should say, to change, and they weren't able to be nimble. So a lot of magazines now, unfortunately, are suffering because they are playing catch up. This is just my opinion from having worked in the industry. I see a lot of magazines now playing catch up. They didn't make the changes when they could have with digital. They didn't do the things that they could have with social media. A lot of magazines, as you saw over the past few years, folded because they weren't able to be nimble. Now you, as an entrepreneur, whether you're just a solopreneur or you have a few employees or you have contractors or you have a big staff, if you remind yourself to be flexible, allow yourself to be nimble, to look at what's happening in your industry and how you might be able to make changes within your business to reflect that, if it's something that you think will impact your business moving forward, be nimble, be flexible. Don't be tethered to how you used to do things. Think about how you want to do things in the future. What makes sense for you? Some of these changes could be things that might be great for productivity for your team, or that might be great for marketing for your team. Social media, for example, which we all know now, but when it first started, people were sort of dismissive of it. It's funny because I think about media as far as the news, the televised news, I should say, how they would often be dismissive of social media. Now, if you watch the news, you notice everything is about what was on Twitter, what was on Facebook, what was quote unquote posted somewhere, right? Things change. But for you, you can do that before all of the big dogs get to the park and try to play with you. Be nimble with your business. Be flexible so that you can be nimble in your business when you need to and make changes as you need to. You want to have some structure in place, of course, and have some ideas in place and plans and vision and all of those things. We want to have those in place. We don't want to get too stuck on those things, though. We don't want to be rigid around those things. Be flexible so you can be nimble. And then the last way I will say being flexible helps is another way that you might have to sort of call a play on the field is your priorities don't always reflect something that has to do with the business. So me, for example, as you all know, if you've been listening to the podcast for a little bit now, I relocated from New York to Atlanta to be closer to family. And one of the many things that we're doing down here is taking care of a family member who has early signs of dementia. It's tough to talk about, but recently I was having a conversation with my mom, who is here in Atlanta also, and she was asking me what I had to do for the day. And of course, I start running down a list because we always got a list, right? There's always a list. So I started running down some of the things that I needed to do and take care of. And I sort of saw it on her face that she wanted to ask me to help out with something, which is why I'm here. So I asked what she was doing. Long story short, she needed to go visit this family member, take care of some things. Honestly, as they say, your life flashes before your eyes. My to-do list flashed before my eyes. And I still said, okay, great. Yes, I'll go with you. No problem. Now, did that take a big chunk out of my day? Was that time that I was away from the things that I thought I was going to be doing for the day? Did it shake up the schedule a little bit? Absolutely. And you know what? It was worth it. I had to be flexible because family is a priority. Now, I'm not saying this, I'm no hero. People do this every day. A lot of you, if you are moms, of course, you do this every day for your children. I'm sure you are flexible for your families. Not saying that to be like, I'm a hero. I gave up doing what I wanted to do on my to-do list because I went to help family. No, what I'm saying is for you, be flexible if there's something that comes up that you need to take care of. Yes, maybe you were supposed to post something at a certain time, or yes, maybe you were supposed to get back to an email by a certain point, or yes, maybe you were supposed to finish that presentation, or whatever that thing is that is hanging over you that you knew you needed to do. Things happen, and in the moment, if you're flexible, you can decide this is a priority right now. This matters to me. I'm going to take care of this. And most importantly, I want to remind you not to beat yourself up in those moments. I say that to you as I say that to myself. Things get off schedule. Things happen. We got to make changes. We have to be flexible. Don't be rigid, especially when it comes to family and needs and priorities of things for other people and for yourself. There's another place that you have to be flexible. Self-care for yourself. If you need to, for example, take a break. Again, thinking about deadlines or things that you have to do. Sometimes you might be able to push to it. Sometimes you just need a freaking break. Don't beat yourself up about that. Take that break, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, a week-long vacation, whatever you need to be your best self, because you're no good to anyone if you're trying to be rigid around something that you have to do and making it impossible for yourself and anyone else to really help you move forward in the best way. So be flexible. Like I said, last week we talked about being gentle with yourself. Now we're talking about being flexible. So this is a lesson that I learned this week. Again, I wanted to share it with you all. Maybe it's something you've experienced. Maybe you're smarter than me and you already know this is something that's necessary. Let me know. Reach out to me, Elayne, at ElayneFluker.com. I really love hearing from all of you. Thank you so much for letting me know that you're listening to the podcast, letting me know the episodes that you like, letting me know all of the great things that you're doing because of the information that you're hearing. It really means everything to me and helps me know to keep going in those moments when I do feel like beating myself up because something didn't turn out exactly as it was supposed to be. Know I'm on the right track, doing what I need to do, being flexible to make this podcast and all of the other things that I want to create happen. So reach out. Let me know how you're doing. Don't reach out just to praise me. Let me know how you're doing. email, or on social media at Elayne Fluker and at Support is Sexy. All right. So I really appreciate you guys listening. You know that I do. Be sure to go to supportissexypodcast.com so you can see other episodes, interviews that I've done with other inspiring women entrepreneurs. And also, before I go, we're all about support around here. So if you are looking for support in creating a sexy business and life and being able to have some flexibility around it, flexibility in the way of support, not being rigid and saying you have to do it all yourself, right? You want to get support for that thing that you're creating. Go to createsomething.sexy.com. Find out information about the mastermind that I'm launching this spring. I would love to have you be a part of it. Just sign up with your email. I'll send you a simple entry form. You fill it out. We'll get on the phone and chat and see if it's a right fit for you. createsomething.sexy.com. All of the information is there, all the things that'll be a part of the mastermind. It's important for you to get support for the things that you want to do. Don't be rigid and do it yourself. Be flexible, be open to support. All right. So again, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you. And now you know what to do. Go out there and create something sexy, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.